Welcome to yet another episode of The Hot Seat, an MNL powered production. And today I'm joined by Chris Chivinge, a veteran sports administrator, and this time around is running for the chairmanship of the Harare Volleyball Association. Welcome to the program, Mr. Chivinge.
Thank you.
People may want to know who is Chris Chivinge, just in short.
Who's Chris Chivinge? I think basically in volleyball, Chris Chivinge is part of the furniture. Chris Chivinge is part of the architecture. I have been in volleyball as a player from as way back as 1990 when I was in my first year at the University of Zimbabwe. That's when I got involved in top flight volleyball in the country. Ever since then, I started coaching on more or less on a full-time basis as head coach of the University of Zimbabwe women's team, a position that I've held up to this time. Ever since that was around 1991. So from 1991, I've been part of the volleyball family, and over time, I've held various I've served in various administrative capacities, notably as part of the pioneering Harare Volleyball League, which was a splinter group from the then Mashonaland Volleyball Association, which was called MASHVA at the time. And this was a crisis time and a very critical time, which actually is the forerunner to the current Harare Volleyball Association. And at that time, what had happened is that the sport was in its doldrums. The league had failed to take off because of one reason or the other. And with other like-minded administrators, we constituted the Harare Volleyball League, and we managed to get the league going, and the games restarted volleyball in Harare at a time when it would have collapsed.
Well, viewers, you have heard about Chris Chivinge, and is part of the first or founder members of the Harare Volleyball League, and now he's come back. Chris, should the people be excited that you are coming back to Harare Volleyball?
I'm not sure whether people should be excited or should be, because it is the time that we say, once again, we're in dire straits. And as a volleyball person, we've been on the sidelines, having been served as the vice president in charge of administration for Zimbabwe Volleyball Association. You then do not expect to be coming down to the grassroots. Let me call this the grassroots. This is the foundational point of volleyball. But when things are not working and you've been part of giving birth to it, you tend to get a sense that maybe there's something, maybe you left too early. There's still some work that could have been done in order to carry the volleyball vision further. So yes, in terms of excitement, I wouldn't want to say that there should be excitement in the volleyball circles. I should say that if we agree to go together, it's time to get down to work. It's time to get dirty. It's time to get things done. And it's time for not giving excuses, but getting results.
Okay, and they may ask, Chris is part of the furniture and has been the furniture featuring in the main house, in the upper house, and now the furniture is being returned to the lower house. Will it still serve its purpose, or it's just old furniture just coming in to give a look in the house but not serving the bigger purpose?
Well, it depends with how one looks at it. From a strategic point of view, in terms of success, one has to look at the track record, one has to look at the milestones that we have gone through, and one has to compare the mission at hand, the task at hand, with the capacities. What is it that a person who is part of the furniture could bring? Part of the furniture could bring you solid administrative capabilities. I've been in public service,
Yes.
Administration. I'm currently involved in civil society organizations in terms of peace building. I'm still almost now, I've been coming back a little bit, and you've seen the little work that I've been part of in terms of resuscitation of beach volleyball, which now is becoming almost the hallmark of the Zimbabwe Volleyball Association and the Harare Volleyball Association calendars. So when you look at that, it's to simply say, yes, we can do what we have done, the miracle that we have seen in terms of beach volleyball. We can recreate such a miracle in terms of indoor volleyball and in terms of volleyball as a whole, in terms of its generality.
And yes, people have witnessed the love that has been given to beach volleyball, and people want to ask, will the same love be given to six-a-side? Things are not okay, let's be honest. The good thing, or that which has kept the volleyball in Harare or the nation at large, is the affiliation fee from the teams. Are we going to see something different? Are we going to see something different? What are you bringing to the table?
I think one of the things that you want to look at is that we need to move volleyball away from being a player-sponsored sport to being a corporate-sponsored sport. We need to create livelihoods out of volleyball. You do not want a situation where the player comes to the court and is looking towards the coach to provide transport, or they're going to bother their parents to ask for more money for their upkeep and things like that. That when teams travel outside, they have to dig deep into their personal pockets in order to enable them to go. So you want to say, yes, the player has done so much in bringing or in helping create a product. This product has always been solid. What now needs is that this product has to be marketed. Now, almost the same way we've done with beach volleyball, that you're actually beginning to see presence of corporates at beach volleyball. And I'm sure also you, if you were watching when you were at the Harare Open, yes, you did see a little bit of corporate activity in terms of it wasn't much because it wasn't planned in a very big way, but you're actually beginning to see that the love that is there for beach volleyball is not ending on the sand court. We want to do the same structure and same big achievement when we go to indoor volleyball.
Can you assure the people that it's not about you this time around? Because in the streets, the people say Chris at times is self-centered, it doesn't listen, it's a one-man band. I may want to go along with them. Why? Because when I saw the list for the nominations, I saw the chairmanship, the second and the third, but there were other positions which had no nominations. Did you not create your own cabinet, your own shadow cabinet to run along with or it was just about you getting the post and see the others when you are in it?
Not necessarily. You know that I'm actually a person who believes in building a team, and normally there is a tendency to want to start building a team around the people who either have the experience, because you look at the gaps that are there to say, at which point do we have a gap? Where do you want to come in? And from a strategic point of view, I want to say that I think if I am not actually the one who is responsible for doing the nominations, I would want to apologize for that. Okay. I've only been, they asked me if I was invited to say, can we nominate you for the position of chairmanship? And this is from, I think, two teams that came. And I said, well, look, do you think you would want my services? They said, oh yes, we feel the time is ripe. You need to come in and assist us. And if you assist us, I said, I can only do that if you guys are willing to work as a team, and I'm a team player, I believe in capacity building, in building the capacities of the people around you, growing with them, sharing a vision, having a vision. It's not about what I want, okay? It's not about Chris Chivinge. This is about volleyball that we have in Harare volleyball. And I want to say the volleyball needs to go beyond the clubs. Yes, we have the Harare Volleyball League as the epitome of volleyball activities, but we want all the underlying structures to become functional. What are we doing at grassroots? What are we doing at under 10? What are we doing at primary school level? What are we doing at ECD? Now we have ECD institutions. What are we doing there? Is there kids volleyball that's taking place? Is there mini volleyball taking place? Midi volleyball? Are we graduating to senior volleyball? And this is it. For this to happen, we are going to require so many structures, and we're going to require so much. There is so much work to be done that actually, if we look at it without even realizing who is doing what, you realize that there is a role for every one of us to play, for every one of us to fulfill, and for every one of us to keep ourselves busy and be happy in pushing volleyball forward.
Yeah, I would like to thank you, Chris, for your time. Time is not on our side, but hopefully we will talk again before the elections on Saturday. That is next Saturday on the 13th. Well, viewers, that was Chris Chivinge here, the first candidate for the chairmanship of the Harare Volleyball Association. Thank you for your time again, Chris.
Thank you very much, MNL. It was a pleasure being your guest here.
Stay tuned for another segment. This is MNL Hot Seat and your host, Thomas Mangwiro. Well, viewers, welcome back to the second segment of the MNL program powered by MNL. This is the Hot Seat, and I am your host, Thomas Mangwiro. In the first segment, I was talking to Chris Chivinge, and now I am joined by Shadreck Chinembiri. Welcome, Koma Shadi, to the episode of MNL Hot Seat.
Thank you, Koma Thomas.
Yeah, we are talking about the Harare Volleyball Association elections, which are due on the 13th of April 2024. And here, Shadreck is one of the front runners for the chairmanship post. Koma Shadi, maybe if you can tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my name is Shadreck Chinembiri. At the present moment, I'm involved in volleyball in, I would say, 3 different ways. I'm part of the executive committee for NABA Volleyball Club. I was also part of the executive committee for the Social Wellness Volleyball League. And then I've also been chairman of CBZ Volleyball Club. Then prior to that, I was chairman of AFC for 4 years. And then prior to that, I was involved with Standard Chartered Bank Volleyball Club. So most of my life has been centered around corporate volleyball. From a general perspective, I'm a banker by profession. Okay. I work for CBZ Bank. I'm a career banker for the last 24 years. I've been banking for different institutions.
Okay, Nkoma Shadi, quite a rich history in volleyball as well as in the business sector. People may want to know, what are you bringing to volleyball as one of the candidates for Harare Volleyball Association?
Okay. Firstly, I think I would like to acknowledge the great work done by the outgoing HVA committee, because it's been a very tough economic environment, but we know that they've been able to host league games and complete them for the last, I think, 2-3 seasons post-COVID. So what do I want to bring? I want us to maintain that, where we are able to continue having games, but we want to be having competitive games in an environment where people enjoy the game themselves. Not just the players, but the spectators, where we can also then be able to bring in sponsors who can then get value out of the league. volleyball, when you look at it, if you look at it, say at schools level,
Yes.
it's a very competitive sport. When you watch schools, if you go for the Zoom Open for schools, right, you'll find that there will be all sorts of people across the whole divide in this country. The rich, the poor, the good schools, the rich schools, the poor schools, they are all enmeshed in there, and they are all competing very competitively, and you find there's lots of support. We want to translate that support to then bring it to provincial level, specifically in the situation Harare Volleyball, where we can make sure that all those children who've been playing volleyball transcend from schools to university. They keep on playing volleyball from university or whatever college they then attend to then come to the league, so that we maintain that throughput. But not just the players, also that support that they were enjoying, we want them to bring it through, so that from that support we then are able to start having income generation, which allows these clubs at the present moment, most of which are barely surviving, to then be able to fundraise and be able to maintain themselves. Once we are able to bring in these numbers, even then the corporate sponsors will then be attracted to the sport. At the moment, if we were to talk to most institutions in this country, competitive corporates, and you want to give them a value proposition to say, come and support volleyball, right, the numbers themselves are not that attractive. That's why you find most people who, despite what may look like unprofessionalism in certain other sports, the sponsors still remain there, and some people still want to go and join those particular sponsors because they see the numbers there. If you go to watch a match, the Islanders Dynamos, you are assured of 40,000+ people.
Yes.
So as a sponsor, you are now attracted to say, I'm going to get mileage. Right? When you see the two best teams in Zimbabwe at the moment, let's say it's Naba versus UZ, right? They can barely fill up the UZ ground, and that's less than 3,000 people. So no sponsor will really then want to say, what mileage am I going to get going to a function where there are only 3,000 people? But if we can then be able to cascade the sport such that not just the 3,000 who are there, but you've got tens of other thousands who are also able to tap in to that one place, we'll be able to raise volleyball to a new standard, which will then transcend even to our own national team, to our own national league.
So from your own look of things, is it that the brand is a bit low, or the game has got a lack of leadership?
I would not necessarily say lack of leadership, but certainly that we can do more with the brand. Okay. We can be able to make our brand more visible, not just in the press, but even in terms of our own outlook. If we look at, I'll give you a simple example, the facilities that we have, right?
Yes.
UZ is probably in Harare. It's supposed to be the premier place where you can actually, when you have a match, everybody goes to UZ. But if you look at the present moment at the surface of the ground that they use it, it's not the best of what of surfaces. So already, just by merely looking at the surface, we have something amiss. Right? If we go outside and you go to Morris Depot, there's no place for the spectators to sit, even for the final. So you've got your people who seated on the ground, etc. So that's what I mean, that it's not necessarily that the leadership itself, but it's that brand which we now want to be able to improve. Let somebody find it attractive to come and watch a volleyball game. Let's find ways where we can even support what is able to then say, putting up 2-3 stands on that volleyball court should not cost us a lot of money. That will make it even better for those who want to bring in their families. Right now somebody's going to start considering, where are my children going to sit? Now I have to carry chairs, etc. Already you are eliminating a part of that support. But if we can start doing the small things which can support, so that your fans can come in and support. Let your players play knowing that I'm not likely to get injured. The surface is okay, everything is in order. Then you notice that the brand that we're talking about will start to grow. And when that brand starts to grow, with visibility growing, we'll be able to do far more.
There are two things I've picked. One is the issue of player welfare, and there is the other issue of infrastructure.
Yes.
Let's talk about infrastructure. What is your plan on infrastructure if you are to be elected to be the HVA chairperson?
Okay. Infrastructure development requires not just HVA, but it requires all stakeholders to actually come together. With the way the setup is at the moment in Zimbabwe, HVA per se does not actually have any stadia which they control. All stadia are under various other institutions. So that's why I'm saying it's something which would then need all stakeholders. But what HVA can do is to be able to facilitate and support these which are already existing, to try and develop their infrastructure to a standard which is acceptable. What it means is therefore that as HVA, we're supposed to be the ones who are coordinating these various stakeholders. We may be the ones who may need to approach certain corporates, we may be the ones who may need to approach government, we may be the ones who may need to approach Sports Commission, where we are able to then say, can you support us so that we are able to develop volleyball to a new level. The other advantage of volleyball is that it's a sport which you can actually utilize outside of all these volleyball professional imports, right, to eliminate other things within society. Because for volleyball, all you need is a very small court and a net,
Yes.
right? And already you can have small kids playing. Now we've got your youth who are now engaged in something which they can participate in. But we cannot cascade down to there when here at the professional level, we are yet to actually develop. That's it on infrastructure, where I'm saying we need to be able to get support from all stakeholders, and we then identify where exactly we want to get the support. Right now in Zimbabwe, our economy is changing, but we are not yet there where we can be able to find sponsors who come running with a bag of gold. So it means we have to be very careful in trying to identify the places where we want to place our money, where we are able to get value from. So what I'm saying is, as HVA, we need to actually identify key sports which we believe can help promote volleyball, and then start to develop the infrastructure from there. And then once we do that, we're then able to help those in the other smaller areas to be able to develop themselves the infrastructure there. Player welfare can only happen if the clubs themselves are financially secure. The clubs themselves can only be financially secure if they have supporting sponsors. At the moment, if you look in, I think within the Harare Volleyball Association, if we were to eliminate the state-sponsored institutions, none of the other teams actually has got a corporate sponsor. In the good old days, if you remember, there was a team called CBZ Jewels.
Yes.
It was sponsored by CBZ Bank, you see, and everything would follow that, and they would be able to be very, very competitive, because they is sponsor of a corporate. If you look now, none of the other teams in that league actually have a corporate sponsor, apart from those who are supported by state institutions, which is your Black Rhinos, your support, your Black Mambas, those sort of things. The other teams are actually struggling. Why? Because they are now being funded, they are self-funded in a way. And in some instances, the self-funding is coming even from the players themselves. We've heard of instances where players have had to contribute to travel to go and play at a tournament.
Yes.
So
that
which
has happened.
Yeah, so what it means is that the players themselves actually have to find money somewhere else, so that they try and support volleyball. And we're saying, let's be able to, like what I said when I started off, let's support volleyball so that we get the volume of people to come through and support these teams. Once these teams have got enough supporters, I'm quite sure even fundraising from the supporters can then become an option, which will allow them to be able to raise funds and then support the players.
Well, viewers, you've heard it for yourself, and this is Shadreck Chinembiri, one of the runners in the Harare Volleyball Association Chairmanship. And Shadreck, my last question, and in very few words, are you the answer to Harare Volleyball Association?
I'm not the answer, but what I know is, and what I can promise is, if you are able to work together, where we are able to select the candidates that are there at the moment, if we can come up with a team which is able to work and gel together, then yes, we can be able to move forward. Whichever candidate wins, what is key is that we are able to support that candidate once they are in the hot seat. As long as the right candidate can win, but as long as they are not supported, they are not going to be able to effect any change. And I believe that if I am selected, I can be able to get the right support, and I can be able then to have a team which can support, which can then be able to lead us to transformation of volleyball.
Well, the electorate for Harare Volleyball Association, the ball is in your court. Who to select? Here with me is Shadreck Chinembiri. Thank you, Shadi, for being here in this program, The Hot Seat, powered by MNL.
Thank you, Thomas. I look forward to meeting the electorate on the day of the vote.
And we also wish to see you in the seat in the next episode as we talk about the volleyball, whether you win or you do not win, supporting whoever wins. And I was talking to Chris Chivinge and Shadreck Chinembiri. Those are the two runners in the candidates for the Harare Volleyball Association Chairmanship, which is due on the 13th of April 2024 in Harare. See you in the next episode. Your host, Thomas Mangwiro.